Welcome to Dead Giveaway. I'm Billy.
And I'm Carley.
This is a two-part podcast. In episode 1, I will tell a true story, but change the names and locations to try and see if my true crime-obsessed wife can discover the truth.
In part 2, Billy reveals the answers, and we will discuss the details of the case. Will I get it wrong, or will it be a dead giveaway? Texas cedar.
Well, I'm not allergic to cedar.
Texas.
I think I'm allergic to you.
Could be. That would explain a lot over the last 13 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no cure for it.
Well, yeah.
Oh, what I got? I got it bad. I can't quit you.
Oh, God. Anyways.
Welcome to the show, everybody.
Yeah. If you're here for the first time, or if you're a returning listener, thank you.
And if you're here for the last time.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
I heard we have to give a shout out to someone in Tennessee. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
We've had quite awesome. A few downloads there, so thanks so much. We appreciate it.
You rock.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Dare I say, they're the only 10 I see.
Oh my God. And they just turned it off.
No, they're blushing right now. I'll be like, oh, thanks.
No, they were like, never mind. Tell their friends. Remember, I told you to listen to that podcast. Don't do it.
Yeah, don't listen to it.
Don't do it.
No, don't do it. Oh, man. Well, we're both struggling with allergies right now. This Texas weather cannot make up its mind.
Oh, my gosh.
It's hot. It's cold.
Yeah.
It's yes. It's no.
It was
it's
literally
out.
snowing and icing 2 weeks ago. And yesterday I went for a walk and I came back and I had a tan line and I was sweating.
Yeah. Love
Not
it.
even kidding.
Ugh. Cannot make up its mind. So
yeah.
If you hear me clearing my throat, I'm doing the best to get away from the mic, so I apologize now.
Yeah, I apologize for him. Yeah.
And if you're listening to this on the day it drops, hope you're going into Monday just full of piss and vinegar and gonna get after the week.
Piss and vinegar? What does that even mean? How about sunshine and rainbows?
It's not all sunshine and rainbows.
I hope that you all are full of sunshine and rainbows. He hopes you're full of piss and vinegar. Who's your favorite? I don't know.
Hey, if you want to be a unicorn, fart and glitter, that's fine. There's your sunshine and rainbows. If you're ready to tackle Monday for the beast that it is, you need a little piss and vinegar in your system.
This is true. You're not wrong.
I need to look that up now so I can show you that that's an actual saying.
No, I know it's insane. My dad says it too. I'm just saying it doesn't sound great.
It just doesn't sound great. Yeah, it's a 20th century American idiom describing someone often youthful or energetic who is exceptionally spirited, feisty, and argumentative. So I hope you go after Monday with a little bit of feisty argumentativeness.
Okay,
get
after hearing that description, I agree, and go get it.
A little need a P and V in your system.
Oh my God.
That sounded even
That's
worse.
Horrible.
Oh God.
Lord.
I apologize for just gonna back that
Yeah,
up.
we're just gonna go ahead and jump right into this episode. Let's see.
Oh man. It's never a dull moment recording these.
Yeah, if they had only heard
I
the
don't
first
even know what
24
I'm
takes.
going to say. Like, I have no idea what's going to come out of my mouth. I'm just as shocked as everybody else.
Yeah, one thing about our podcast is it is not scripted, just pure personality.
Flying by the seat of my pantaloons.
Yes,
All right. Are you ready to get into this?
I am.
Okay. So we're going into episode 5, part 1
Okay.
of The Unknown Caller.
Ooh, the unknown caller.
Mm-hmm. All right. In 2000, the first call happens.
It's Scream. Story over.
There's no voice, no words, just breathing. I was trying to
know
be
you were going to do sound effects.
I was trying to be dramatic, but your face was
I was like, are you actually going to heavy breathe into the microphone? What's happening right now?
It's like when I call you at work sometimes.
I know.
And I'm like, honey, I had to bend over and tie my shoes.
Was the call coming from inside the house?
And then the line goes dead.
Okay.
Daniel shrugs it off as if it must have been a wrong number, someone bored, a kid playing a prank, bad service, etc. But the phone rings again the next night, and the night after that, and the night after that, and the night after that.
Just once a day?
Sometimes the call lasts only a few seconds. Sometimes it goes on long enough that he can hear the person on the other end shifting around like they're waiting. And sometimes it's just utterly silent, like they're just making sure he's still listening.
Okay.
And this goes on for a long amount of time, so much so that Daniel changes his numbers.
Smart.
But the calls continue after he does.
Is there any gap in between?
No.
Okay.
Then, without warning, the calls abruptly change, and a recorded voice replaces the silence. It's male, flat, almost casual, saying, "You're dead."
Ooh.
No shouting, no emotion, just very matter of fact, "You're dead."
Do you have a time frame as like how long the just like silent breathing calls went on before it changed? Weeks, months? Okay.
Months.
Okay.
So this, to prepare you, this goes on for a ungodly amount of time.
Oh, okay.
Daniel starts keeping track of the dates, times, length of calls, whether it's silence, breathing, or if it's the recorded voice. Some days the phone rings 10 or 12 times.
Jeez.
Other days it doesn't ring at all. Adding to his paranoia.
Yeah.
Is it going to be
that
or
right.
family,
right.
etc.? There are no demands, no requests of money, no explanations, just
no threats or anything.
Just consistent torment of Daniel's psyche. So it gets to a point that he decides he's going to change his routine. He starts to leave work at different times, take different routes home, stops answering the phone completely, but they never stop. He changes his number again, but within days, the calls start again, same voice, same message. The reason he changes his routine is because the recorded messages start saying things that he's done.
Like, I saw you leave work today in your green tie or whatever.
Exactly.
Okay.
Daniel finally reports the calls to police. At first, they treat it as harassment, tell him don't engage, keep on keeping records.
No big deal.
Call us if it escalates. And he does exactly that. Eventually, police put a trace on his phone.
Okay.
And that's when something doesn't add up. Several of the calls don't come from anywhere near Daniel's home. These calls are traced to public payphones across the city. One comes from just miles away. Another comes in while Daniel is confirmed to be at work, surrounded by coworkers, which means he could not have made the call himself. Other times, the calls come from within blocks away from his house.
Did they think he was doing it himself? Is that...
This is just to indicate that...
Okay, just they ruled that out.
Right.
Okay.
So the calls don't slow down. They just adapt. Again, it's breathing, silence. Sometimes the recording will play twice in a row. Like the caller just wants to make sure that the message he's saying of "you're dead" lands.
Heard.
Or whatever else it might be.
Right.
Like, "I saw you today."
So he is saying different things, though. Like, okay.
So Daniel stops sleeping well.
Sure.
He starts checking his locks twice, then 3 times, 4 times. He starts jumping as soon as the phone rings at any little noise. His paranoia grows. He also doesn't tell many people other than his family and the police what is going on.
Right.
Because he doesn't want to sound as paranoid as he is. But 2, he doesn't know who he can trust.
True. Right.
And he also keeps logging every call at this point. Police are still keeping tabs. They're surveilling the phone booths. They're tracing calls. And they also start looking at Daniel's life and relationships and his job. So by the year 2000, Daniel Mercer is 45 years old.
Okay.
He lives in Cascade Heights, a mid-sized city in the Pacific Northwest, the kind of place where, neighborhoods feel quiet at night and people assume they're safer than they probably are.
Right.
It's suburban, spread out, and at least on paper, very, very uneventful. The kind of place you go that you just want to unwind. People are grilling on the weekends.
Right. You wave at your neighbors when you're jogging by.
Exactly.
Okay.
So Daniel works as a pediatric behavioral nurse at a regional hospital. His job requires patience, precision, and the ability to stay calm.
Right.
Oftentimes when other people are losing control, right?
Right.
So coworkers describe him as steady, organized, extremely emotionally reserved, not someone who dramatizes things, not somebody who panics, and definitely not somebody who's paranoid and does things on a whim.
Yeah, I feel like that would be very necessary for that job.
Which makes his growing paranoia and tension harder for police to dismiss.
Yeah.
So 4 months before the calls happen, Daniel has finalized a divorce from his wife, Dr. Alice Mercer, a psychiatrist. It wasn't explosive, but it definitely wasn't friendly.
Okay.
Friends later described it as controlled, tense, and quietly unhappy. Two people who knew how to argue without raising their voices, getting deeply ugly without ever raising a loud sound.
Yeah.
Right?
They know how to cut deep without. Yeah. Yeah.
Investigators note the timing almost immediately, 4 months between the divorce and the first call. They also note Alice's profession, flagging her background in behavioral health and psychological evaluation. At this stage, she is not named a suspect, but she is definitely a person of interest.
Yeah.
Daniel moves into a small apartment in the city, nearer to his work. He keeps to himself, works really long hours, and maintains his routines. And this is when the calls start. So it's 4 months after he develops his new life, after the separation.
Okay.
Right. At first, they feel disconnected from everything else in his life. Annoying, unsettling, but separate from anything else going on.
Right.
It's 2000, so smartphones aren't what they are now, right? So BlackBerry has just entered the market back in 1999, but nothing else resembles today's constant connectivity. So there's no home security apps that are just sending you, a Ring doorbell video straight to your phone, and there's no GPS on every device. Payphones are still massively widely used. Remember, this is pre 9/11.
Well, yeah, unless you had the BlackBerry that you could flip, and then it had the tiny little keyboard that you had to use the little stylus to, and then you always hit the wrong buttons because it's so tiny.
So when somebody wants to stay anonymous at this point in time, it's easier than it will ever be again now to not leave a digital footprint.
Now you can see anything you do at any time.
Yeah, so digital footprints are small at this point in time. Very, very hard to trace, which means the person calling Daniel doesn't need to vanish completely, only to understand how people behave, how fear escalates, and how long it takes systems to catch up.
Which makes sense of the ex-wife and her background.
So by 2001, the torment directed at Daniel Mercer crosses from harassment to physical assault.
Ooh.
So Daniel is found unconscious in his apartment by coworker Evelyn Klein. She went to check on him after he didn't show up for his shift and didn't answer his phone. So when she gets there, she finds him unconscious. There's marks on his neck, thin and linear, consistent with the ligature.
Ooh.
Bruising on his wrists and arms as if he had been restrained, and there's a small puncture wound on his arm. Investigators immediately note the escalation from psychological intimidation to physical restraint, suggesting an offender willing to be in close proximity and exert direct control. The presence of an injection site raises questions about access to sedatives, the familiarity with administering them.
Right.
Attention quietly shifts towards individuals with a medical or psychological training and background, and this includes Daniel's ex-wife, who police start to look at more strongly.
Right.
Police also flagged Daniel's workplace, noting that coworkers in a hospital have legitimate access to needles, controlled substances, and they know how to use them.
Yeah, and probably know how to restrain somebody.
Mm-hmm. At the hospital, toxicology testing reveals sedative drugs in his system, which these drugs were not prescribed to him. They were not things that he regularly took.
Okay.
And
what does he remember?
Nothing.
So it was something that would wipe his memory too.
Yes. Investigators document that the drugs were administered deliberately and in a manner consistent with someone who understands dosage and timing. So this person is skilled and trained in the administration of these drugs.
So did they think that this person didn't kill him intentionally? Like they knocked him out, they restrained him, they did the ligature on his neck, but they did not kill him on purpose? Scare tactic?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But this is psychological for Daniel.
Right. They're torturing him.
Yes. And so there's been a pure escalation.
Yeah.
And so the phone calls started out, once a day.
Build up the
in the
tension,
evening,
build up the
and
fear.
then 10 to 12 times a day consistently. And every time he changes his number, they still get it. So this reinforces two parallel lines of inquiry: a medically trained stalker or someone with routine access to pharmaceuticals through work. This is what police are starting to look at. They're thinking this has got to be it. So Daniel tells police he doesn't remember what happened. He remembers feeling dizzy and then nothing. The memory loss is consistent with drug-induced incapacitation, not panic or voluntary ingestion, further supporting the involvement of another person. And so this is not a single isolated incident.
It happened more than once?
Over the next several years, Daniel is found unconscious or semi-conscious multiple times.
What in the world?
Sometimes inside his apartment, other times outside is when he's found.
Whoa.
Often during times when police were actively surveying the area.
Wow.
Each time the injuries were real, the sedation was confirmed, the memory loss was consistent. Doctors document ligature marks, cuts, and bruises consistent with restraint or struggle, and injection sites consistent with hypodermic needles.
What in the heck?
So
Do you know how many times?
This
several?
a lot over the years.
Okay.
Medical staff note that the pattern of restraint injuries suggests that they were applied by someone else, not self-inflicted.
Right.
Investigators increasingly refer to the offender as a stalker, someone escalating from surveillance and harassment to repeated physical domination.
Yeah.
In several cases, Daniel wakes with no recollection of how he was incapacitated or restrained. During this time, the phone calls persisted, continuing as frequent as they had been before, so 10 to 12 times a day.
So still getting all the calls, but then add in the random physical assaults.
And investigators begin to think that Daniel's tormentor may have an accomplice. They look again at his coworker Evelyn, who is noted as taking on more shifts around the times that Daniel was working. So something to note here is Daniel's apartment is broken into repeatedly with no signs of forced entry.
When he's not home?
When he's home, when he's not.
Okay.
Nothing is stolen.
This is aside from the assaults, though.
Yeah, nothing is stolen, but instead rooms are ransacked, personal items are displaced or damaged, windows are smashed, kitchen knives appear in plain sight and placed where they weren't before,
So just psychological torture again.
along with ones that he didn't own.
Whoa.
No prints or DNA is ever recovered, so this indicates the intent is not burglary, but deliberate psychological torture.
Yeah.
The selection of items, particularly the knives, suggests the intruder understands what would be psychologically threatening to Daniel, implying familiarity rather than randomness. So, of course, police are documenting everything. Daniel is documenting everything.
Right.
There's photographs, notes, timelines. This, and again, not to stress this enough, it has gone on for years. So
Yeah.
there is a massive amount of timeline.
Right. And they still have nothing.
Right.
No phone links, no DNA, no nothing.
So investigators quietly revisit individuals who have previously had legitimate access to Daniel's home, including former partners. They also continue examining Daniel's workplace connections, noting that a coworker would understand his schedule and periods of vulnerability. Police respond, no suspect. Despite the mounting evidence pointing toward a personal stalker, no single individual can be conclusively tied to the assaults. No DNA, no prints, no evidence. As the incidents continue, police escalate their response. Daniel's case is no longer treated as just routine harassment at this point.
Well, yeah.
So before they were tracing calls, they were surveilling payphones, but now the escalation is overseen by Detective Mark Harlan, the lead investigator who becomes the central coordinator for this case. He reviews Daniel's call logs personally, maps patrol coverage, and serves as Daniel's primary point of contact as security measures increase. Officers begin conducting more patrols around his apartment, especially at night. Marked cars pass through the area repeatedly. Unmarked units sit nearby during high-risk windows. Daniel is told to call immediately if anything feels off. Absolutely no hesitation, no second guessing.
I mean, I'm glad they're taking it seriously.
And many of these calls are routed directly to Harlan, so he doesn't have to deal with, talking to dispatch, getting rerouted.
Right.
Here's
having
my
a
number,
message relayed
call me.
hours later.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So police also recommend additional safeguards such as panic buttons in his home, reinforced locks, exterior lighting, and adjusted routines.
Yeah.
So he's at the time doing
All of those things. Yeah.
So the increased presence should feel reassuring,
Right.
but the activity doesn't stop.
Somebody knows what they're doing.
There are multiple incidents where patrols have just cleared the area. Daniel reports something happening just minutes later. Officers arrived to find no intruder and no forced entry.
Wow. So are these times when he's found unconscious, or these are other times?
These are times where he reports something. So he's called
and saying
said,
something's
off, something's going on.
And they get there and they can find nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
Okay.
So investigators quietly note that whoever is responsible appears to know when patrol coverage has just ended or temporarily thinned. The possibility is raised carefully within the department that this knowledge could come from inside the investigation.
I was going to say that. Sounds like somebody is at least with access to.
Yeah. And so whatever is happening appears to be slipping through the cracks, arriving and vanishing between patrols. Right. Yeah. So as the incidents continue, Daniel follows every recommendation he's given. He installs the alarm system, adds the panic button, changes the locks, alters his routines again and again and again. Still, the intrusions continue. There are multiple occasions where alarms are triggered. Police arrive almost instantly. No forced entry is found. No intruder is present.
What in the world?
There's nothing missing, and nothing explains how someone got in or out. As investigators expand their focus, attention briefly turns to Daniel's workplace again. Police interview several hospital employees, including Evelyn Klein, a registered nurse coworker who works overlapping shifts with Daniel and occasionally covered for him during late hours. She has also reportedly shown interest in him, sometimes to the point he has been overheard saying he's not interested.
Oh.
Klein cooperates fully. No evidence directly implicates her, but her access to medication, to medication storage and familiarity with Daniel's schedule, as well as her reported interest, are documented heavily, along with her finding him unconscious in his apartment that first time.
She's the one who went to go look for him.
So at the same time, a quieter question begins circulating within the departments. Daniel is the only constant across every incident.
Right.
He documents meticulously, he complies precisely, and despite years of activity, no one is ever seen entering or leaving his apartment.
And there's no security cameras or anything like that.
Yep.
Okay.
And think about this. He's already installed an alarm system, installed panic buttons.
Yeah.
He's doing all of this stuff. He's not sleeping well.
Right.
All of these things going on.
True.
Yeah. Then come the acts mean purely to terrorize. On more than one occasion, dead animals are left outside of Daniel's front door.
Ooh. Well, not that it matters, but like what kind of animals are we talking about?
Like dead rabbits, dead birds. I mean, all kinds of stuff.
Just random. Okay.
Investigators note that the placement suggests confidence, timing, and familiarity with Daniel's movements, traits consistent with stalking rather than just random vandalism again.
Right.
So this message is very unmistakable that they are doing this with the intent
to terrify him.
Yeah. So neighbors are interviewed. None reporting suspicious activity, nothing out of the ordinary. They also report not seeing anyone other than Daniel and police entering or leaving his apartment.
Okay.
So whoever is doing this is not only duping police and Daniel, they're also getting by without being seen by the neighbors.
Yeah.
So as the assaults continue, Daniel is hospitalized multiple times.
Because of injuries?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, you have to think about this. He's not only been tied up and choked, depending on what kind of a cocktail they put into his system.
Yeah.
He has to get
But they never ever find, like, there's no needle on site. There's no nothing.
None.
Okay.
Ever. No DNA.
Okay.
So while he's hospitalized, these phone calls continue.
At his apartment or at the hospital? Okay.
At the apartment. Medical professionals document the injuries are real and verifiable. There are no clear indicators of self-inflicted harm.
Okay.
The injuries do not align with accidental causes. Doctors treat him for physical trauma, drug exposure, and the cumulative effects of prolonged stress.
Yeah.
Despite this, some investigators continue to question whether Daniel, the victim, could be involved in staging certain scenes, citing his medical knowledge and the absence of witnesses.
I feel like you almost have to. I mean,
But medical staff consistently push back, noting that the injuries and drug administration would be extremely difficult to self-inflict repeatedly without error.
Right.
And that's the scary thing about this is that it has gone on for years. We're coming up on, I believe, almost 7 years that this has gone on.
If I were him, I would have quit my job, burned my driver's license, social security card, and went and put a tent on the beach on the opposite side of the United States or wherever they're at.
So as this goes on, police slowly start to shift focus and the investigation began to change. Privately, some investigators started asking whether Daniel could be responsible for what is happening to him, right?
Of course. Yeah.
Now, the reasoning was framed as procedural, but now it's becoming almost blatant. This has to be it.
Right, because they can't find anything else. So what's the answer?
So Daniel's the only one who had detailed knowledge of his own routines and was the only one in contact with Detective Harlan in regard to the patrol schedule and surveillance. So despite repeated break-ins, assaults, and alarms, no one has ever been seen entering or leaving his apartment other than himself and police.
Right.
Within the case files, this line of thinking begins to appear more frequently, right? So often following reviews of the same reports, the same timelines, the same patterns, the questions are consistent, the language is measured, and they are raised more often during internal briefings led by Mark Harlan than any other officers.
So is Harlan thinking that it's him too?
Officers begin pointing to the precision of the scenes, the timing, the placement of objects, the way incidents seem to occur just outside of patrol windows. To some, it suggests orchestration rather than intrusion. Gradually, this perspective gains traction. Reports reflect more skepticism. Certain incidents are reclassified as unverified. Surveillance is scaled back. Resources are redirected. Daniel is never charged with anything during this time when the investigation changes. The theory is never formally declared that he is the one doing it, but police pull back substantially.
Do they think that if he's not getting as much attention that it won't be as, I don't know.
So for Daniel, this is the most unsettling realization that after years of asking police to catch whoever is doing this, the person leading the investigation no longer seems convinced there is anyone else to find.
Yeah.
And so as the years pass, the toll on Daniel becomes impossible for his family not to notice. They describe him as increasingly anxious, increasingly guarded. The man who once kept strict routines now second guesses everything he does, where he parks, who might be watching, whether a stranger's glance lasts too long. Phone calls with family members become shorter. Conversations circle back to the same fear. Someone's watching him. Someone knows where he is.
Mm-hmm. And they do, and they are.
Family members later say Daniel begins to sound afraid in a way they haven't heard before. Not panicked, not hysterical, just worn down, hyper alert, and almost bracing for impact.
Yeah.
Then, in January of 2005, so we're 5 years in at this point.
5 years, okay.
The situation gets really, really bad. A neighbor sees the door to his apartment slightly ajar and finds an unconscious Daniel inside with a knitting needle driven through his leg and a threatening note pinned to it saying, "Next time, I could kill you." After this incident, he was taken to a local hospital where he was administered care and given time to recover. Only Daniel's DNA is found at the scene.
Yeah.
No fingerprints, nothing. They do a handwriting analysis to try and rule out suspects, but results indicate that whomever wrote that note had cut letters from multiple notes from multiple individuals and photocopied them on the one left on his leg.
Okay.
So there's no way to definitively say this
Where
is their handwriting.
Yeah.
Right, because it's all different.
Yeah.
Every note, every letter is different.
Okay.
After this, Daniel changes his name and he moves. He adopts the alias Charles Preston, believing it might help him disappear just enough to break the pattern.
Does he move far?
Well, he's still working at the hospital, but he moves away.
Moves and changes his name, but he still has the same job. So what's the point? You look the same. You go to the same place.
Right. But again, in a move of desperation, you have to
He's
think.
trying something.
Right.
Yeah.
According to his family, he talked this through carefully, weighing whether it was extreme or not. And in the end, he decided it was absolutely necessary, after everything he's faced, that this could be one way to safeguard himself.
Sure.
To his family, the name change is proof of how serious this is, right? And again, the family combined with Daniel telling police, no, this is serious, this isn't right. They're all saying this to police. He isn't trying to draw attention, he's trying to survive. But again, police say, nope, this hits us differently.
Right.
We've been here for 5 years with this guy, and
Yeah.
we
I mean, I
don't
can see
think
where they're
this
coming
adds up.
from. Like
Yeah.
you're surveilling and you're watching, and you after 5 years you see nothing. That's
Well, here's where it gets creepy.
okay.
Soon the voice on the phone begins using his new name and the recorded threats. The alias becomes another detail added to the file, another indicator to some of a man unraveling under pressure. Another data point used later to question whether Daniel's fear was proportionate or pathological. The same action that convinces his family he is in danger quietly reinforces for the investigators the growing suspicion that the danger may be coming from Daniel himself.
Yeah.
Most outspoken about this is the lead investigator, Harlan. During this time, Daniel's ex-wife reportedly told his family and investigators they needed to get Daniel the best psychiatric help possible.
So she thought it was him too.
Daniel claimed he didn't need help. He needed them to find whoever was doing this. His family agreed despite everything the police were saying.
Yeah. Okay.
In the early summer of 2007, Daniel Mercer disappears. Surveillance and patrols are completely unaware until they are notified by his family and the hospital that he hasn't responded or shown up to work.
Uh-oh.
Given what has happened over the previous years, the threats, the assaults, the break-ins, this is obviously not a voluntary disappearance.
Right.
They don't believe, the investigators don't believe this, the family doesn't believe this, and Daniel has spent too many years telling police that this was a very real and very scary chance that this would happen.
Right.
No signs of forced entry and no sign of a struggle in his apartment. So within hours of Daniel being reported missing, police began canvassing the area around his apartment. During that process, a neighbor comes forward with a detail investigators immediately flagged. The neighbor reports seeing a man near Daniel's door on the night before he vanished. The sighting is brief but unsettling. The man is described as an adult of average height, wearing dark clothing, standing near the edge of the door, not moving. But when they heard footsteps, the figure walked quickly away. The neighbor cannot say where the man came from, where he went. They didn't see a vehicle. They did not hear an argument, raised voices. They don't think that he even interacted with Daniel. By the time the neighbor realizes the sighting might matter, the man had already left, and now Daniel's missing, and now they think to tell police. Investigators document the account, note the timing, and compare it against who was on patrol that night. The description is very, very vague. They have no idea who they're looking for. And again, there's no camera coverage on that part of the lot, and there's no other witnesses coming forward.
Yeah.
Police note that Harlan, the lead investigator, had been called by Daniel hours earlier to say the phone had rung and they told him he was being watched. Call logs corroborate this. Harlan himself came to relieve the on-duty patrolman, telling Daniel he was there personally, which he knew would help Daniel calm down. For the first time in years of phone calls, break-ins, and physical assaults, there is a report placing another potential party near Daniel's home shortly before his disappearance, and Harlan missed it.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the first time anybody's ever seen anything.
Yep.
Okay.
On the same day Daniel vanishes, his car is found. It's parked neatly in a grocery store lot several miles from his apartment.
Okay.
Inside the car are bags of groceries, a wrapped gift on the passenger seat with no name tag. Nothing appears disturbed. There is no luggage, no note, no sign of panic. To Daniel's family, the scene feels wrong in a very, very specific way. Like this was staged.
Yeah.
The groceries suggest he planned to go home. The gift suggests he was thinking about someone else, something ordinary, something future-oriented.
Sure.
There's nothing that suggests he intended to disappear that day.
Right.
So police gather all of that up. They test it. There's no DNA found on anything.
Of course not.
Right. You know, they look at the groceries. They look at the gift. They don't open that. They go through everything. They're like, there's no DNA. None.
Mm-hmm.
Not even Daniel's. 2 weeks later, Daniel Mercer...
Wait, not even Daniel's?
Yeah.
Oh.
2 weeks later, Daniel Mercer's body is found.
Oh.
He is discovered in a vacant yard near an abandoned house on the outskirts of the city, an area that is partially concealed but is absolutely not remote. The location raises immediate questions. How long had he been there? And how did no one notice sooner that his body was there?
Right.
Took 2 weeks for somebody to notice. when Daniel is found, the circumstances are immediately disturbing. He was hogtied, his hands and feet bound together behind his back. A nylon stocking is wrapped tightly around his neck. Small puncture wounds on his arm. Toxicology later finds he had a very high level of morphine, Valium, and flurazepam in his system.
Yeah, there's no way he could have done that to himself.
Yeah, no syringe is found at the scene. There are no obvious signs of a struggle at the scene. So Daniel Mercer had spent years telling police he was being hunted. Now he's dead. He was found bound, strangled, and administered drugs.
Yeah.
Again, after this had been happening for years. After a few months after his body is found, some of Daniel's things are picked up by his family. Things that were not deemed as evidence by the police, right? So this is just, hey, these are things
personal belongings.
Yeah. When his mother and father arrived back home, his mother opened the gift that was left inside the car, hoping to find who he intended to give it to.
Wait, the police didn't open the gift that was left in the car of the... Okay.
After opening it, she screams, dropping it on the floor, and is hysterical. Inside was a picture of a then live, hogtied Daniel, hands and feet bound together behind his back. He had a nylon stocking wrapped around his neck. His eyes open, pupils dilated, and he was clearly still alive. And the picture was taken in the spot that he was found. No note, no DNA, and no further evidence.
I'm sorry. You find the guy's car abandoned in a parking lot with the gift in the seat and you don't open it? What? What kind of backwards police department is this? What else you got?
That's it. That's where they close the case. And police at this point say...
Please tell me they don't think he did it himself.
They highly fight that he did it himself.
He hogtied himself behind his back, feet and hands.
Yes. Again, most notably outspoken about this is the lead investigator.
Which is who I think did it, I'm just going to say.
And so after this happens, they start looking at Evelyn Klein, who she had massive interest in him.
Sure.
The wife... And
the ex-wife, yeah.
So one thing to add in here is they went in to look at pharmaceuticals and say, okay, how much did the hospital order? They looked at the drugs his ex-wife had access to.
Right.
What have you ordered? What have you had in?
Is there anything missing?
No.
Okay.
And there's no proof that she had ordered, bought, purchased anything remotely close to what was found in Daniel's system.
Okay.
That's not to say she couldn't get it.
Sure, yeah. Or
Right.
steal it.
Yeah. So persons of interest at this time are still Evelyn
Ex-wife,
Klein,
yeah.
his ex-wife, the unknown stalker,
Right.
and Daniel himself.
Or the police officer that's not taking anything seriously.
Yeah, I mean, you have to think about who knew the patrol routes aside from Daniel.
Right.
And who did Daniel call on the last night.
I just can't see a motive in that unless there's some hidden his kid was a psychiatric patient of Daniel's a long time ago that killed herself. Or you know what I mean?
Well, his wife was the psychiatrist. He's the registered nurse.
Well, still.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to go with someone in the police department. I don't want to necessarily say the head detective, even though that's where I'm going, because otherwise, what are you doing? But someone in the police department.
Okay. All right.
That's where I'm at.
You heard it here.
He's smiling, so I'm obviously wrong.
She's going with the patrol. Okay. Some investigator on the team of the police.
Yes. All right. Well,
I'm just going to throw this out there. Do you think that there's one suspect, or do you think that there could possibly be multiple?
I mean, it's possible that there's two. I think one person could do it, but one.
One?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we'll find out.
Wait, is the head detective having an affair with the ex-wife? I'm kidding. Oh, look at your face. Maybe that's what it is. Is that what it is?
We'll find out in part 2.
Oh my gosh. Okay. We'll see you guys on Thursday to reveal the big answer. And just judging by the look on his face, I literally cannot wait to hear it.
I'm doing my best to try to throw you off.
Yeah, I am literally at a loss.
Yeah. No, this is a weird
I'm
one.
thinking of the most far-fetched possible answer I could think of.
Okay, is this not such a weird thing?
It's
okay,
the
if
weirdest
I was
thing,
the mom,
yeah.
I would never recover from that.
No, that's awful.
Yeah.
That is horrible. All right, we'll see you guys on Thursday.
Thanks for listening. As always, find us on social media, Dead Giveaway Podcast.
Thanks for listening.